Hello friends, in this video I will make a DIY version of Logitech Z with Bluetooth. Now let's begin with the story. If you follow my channel, you know that my favorite sound system is Logitech Z2300. And I got one of these I use on my TV and on my PC. For that I use this control pod because I didn't have this original control pod, and I made this version of control pod. I use this optic digital converter, and here in optical input I use a cable from my TV. And that's how I enhance the sound of my TV. The problem with this system is that on my optical output I cannot adjust the volume of the sound on my TV, and I don't have a remote for this. This is located under my TV, and it's very annoying to adjust the volume of this control pod, and that's why I came with idea that I made a DIY version of this control pod. And if I made the DIY version of this with Bluetooth input, I can adjust the sound from my TV remote. Now I will show you what I will do. You see, this is the schematic that I will use. What I want to do is very simple. I will replace these two inputs with potentiometer, this double volume potentiometer. I will replace with this module, and I will power this module with 5 volts input. I have 5 volts input, and I will not use a cable like this. I will use a connector like this to be a shortest distance from this control pod to the speaker, to avoid ground loop. That's mandatory, this to be very closer. If you want this one, the first one, will be the test version. If I will be happy with this trial version, I will make a second part of this video, and I will make design, professional design for PCB for this project. I bought this connector, but you can find a connector like this on any used motherboard. That's DB15. That's connect the motherboard to VGA monitors. First of all, I will put this connector on this board. Now, after few hours, this project is ready. I mounted all the pieces here. This is the Bluetooth receiver. This is adjustable for subwoofer volume. And as you see, it's very minimalistic. Here you have the connection. This is the position of this Bluetooth receiver. Minus it's connected to pin 4, plus it's connected to pin 5. right output is connected to pin 6 and left output is connected to pin 12. Now let's put it to the test. I will mount to my subwoofer and I will make some tests. Now let's make the first test. I brought here my subwoofer. I checked every connection 3 times and everything seems to be okay. Now let's power on. It's blinking. And now let's check the power voltage. I have only 2.8 volts. I don't know why. Perhaps this stabilizer doesn't have enough power for this module, but this module works perfectly with this 5 volts output. Let's check the voltage without any load. There is a problem. In my knowledge, this was 5 volts output, but now I see it's 70 volts. There are 18 volts. The simplest solution is to power this from an external device. I will check the schematic to see if I can modify this so it would give me 5 volts on this output. I will put a stabilizer inside and I have to check if with 5 volts I can power this on. Now let's make a test. So I put here a 5 volt stabilizer. If we'll need, I will put also a capacitor. Now let's mount. First of all, let's check the voltages. So let's measure the 5 volts. I don't have 5 volts. I have only 2 volts. Now let's measure the input. $17 volts. Now let's make some test. I put 5 volts on my power supply and let's apply 5 volts to module to see how much current it takes. It takes almost 1 amp and I've seen some smoke. That means that is a problem here. Now it's taking only 10 milliamps, but it's not working because the LED is not clipping. So it seems this module is dead because I powered with over voltage. I have to replace this module with another one. I've added this satellite and I have 2 problems that I have to solve. First problem is that boom when I start the system. And the second problem is you can hear this annoying noise. High frequency noise from the Bluetooth receiver. For the boom, I have to make a delay on the schematic on this connection from 15 pin to 5 pin. That's the power. And for high frequency noise, I will add a ballast resistor on the input of this stabilizer. For the beginning, let's try 200 ohms. Let's put on the power supply and let's measure the drop of voltage. So we have 18 volts input, 15 volts after this resistor, and 5 volts on the module. So we have 3 volts drop on this resistor. It's a little warm. Now let's see if we solved the first problem. It seems that we didn't solve the noise problem. I will solve it and I will be back. After hours of test, I found the best solution. And now I will go back to show you the steps that I've made. After I tried this step down module, I tried this stabilizer. It's 7805 5 volt stabilizer, and I made some tests. Let me show you. And I added this volume potentiometer only on one channel because I've noticed that the output volume from this module it's too much higher for the input level of this subwoofer. And that's why I have to put a volume potentiometer, or I have to put a volume divider to decrease the output volume from this module. Also, I have to add some delay on this board because when I will power on this speaker, don't appear that bang. So the yellow wire, it's the input 18 volts, and the red wire is the output 5 volts. Now the left channel, it's the low level channel from potentiometer, and now I will move to the right. And the left, it's little than the right, but still it's not good. And now I will show you what I did next. For the next experiment, I use this battery. Here I have 4 volts and high current. I forgot to tell you that I put those voltages, input and output, on the oscilloscope, and were a lot of big noise. on the power supply voltages. Now I will supply this module from this battery to be sure that it's not a ground loop between power rail and power ground and audio ground. And this is completely separated. Now let's use this to see if we still have the noise or not. I will let on the original on the right. As you can hear, there is still that noise. It's much lower than from this module, but it's still annoying. Now let's move to the small volume, and now where it's attenuated, there is no noise at all. Now let's put everything back, and now that I've come with the final solution, I will put this resistor between 18 volts on this yellow rail. I will put this resistor in series with 18 volts rail input. Now let's solder this. Now let's power this on. And as you can hear, on the left channel from potentiometer, there is absolutely no noise. Let's move to the right. And on the right, it's a very small noise, but you have to be aware that this is a maximum volume. It's amplified more than it should be. Now I will make a test, but I should disconnect the right channel, because the right channel goes full volume on the subwoofer input, and only left channel is small volume, but subwoofer level will be taken from right input. It's working. Now I should disconnect the right. Now I've disconnected the right input, and we have a signal only on left input. Now there is no subwoofer signal, but before we have subwoofer signal even with the volume to the minimum. So the sound quality is very good. There is no noise. It's very little noise. And now this is the final version. Now you can see the schematic of this module. The right side is exactly the original. Here I have original control pod, and here I have my version of Bluetooth control pod. So the right part is identical, because this is a subwoofer input and subwoofer volume. Now in the left part you can see what I modified. So this is the Bluetooth module. These are the outputs. This is the volume potentiometer. You can replace volume potentiometer with 10 kilo resistor up and 2.2 kilo down. And here it's up to 2.2 kilo and down 10 kilo. Here you have to be very careful because there is signal ground and power ground. Here we have power ground and we need 5 volts supply voltage. Here we have stabilizer. In my final version I will put SMD. We have input, output and ground. And here we have a 220 ohm resistor. And this is the power switch. With this schematic you can make your own version of a Bluetooth control pod for this Logitech subwoofer. I will make SMD version of this and I will make the design for the PCB. If you have any questions, please put it in a comment. And if you made it so far, please give a big like and subscribe. See you in my next video. Bye.